I've been doing a lot of work on this whole whistleblowing. Okay, and actually, Sumaira said the act is unique because it allows NGOs to complain instead of an individual. But that comes with a lot of risks. I think everyone who's an activist over here knows very well that when you get a complaint as a journalist or as an activist, you don't know who the other person is. You don't know what is their motive. You don't know whether there is any vested interest operating and they're only going to hide. And this I face all the time, even as a journalist, okay? Because when somebody comes to you, even with something which is a hard-hitting story, you don't know what is their motive behind it. I keep saying that the source is immaterial. I go by the facts. And if there are documents to prove the facts, then a story is a story is a story. It doesn't matter where it comes from. And I usually say that the best people are not going to come out and give you anything because they don't care. They are very happy putting their heads down and doing their job. They are not interested in bucking the system. And if you look at just the very word, what is whistleblowing? I think all over the world, with all the acts and with all the protection anybody may give, there is nothing like a reward for whistleblowing. And this is something I've written repeatedly over the years, that you may have some Sharon Watkins once in a while who will be celebrated as a hero after, Enron collapses and there's a global crisis. But 99.9% of whistleblowers get attacked, hounded and harassed, right? In fact, there are statistics that more than 80%, 80 to 90% of them, in spite of all the laws that are there, lose their jobs. So the first thing that happens is they're dismissed. And while there may be any number of acts, companies spend a whole lot of money to say why their action is justified. So first the person is dismissed and the company prefers to fight it out. That has not changed anywhere in the world. You would have seen it through global experience as well. In fact, a lot of times in India, I have found that, again, over 30 years of journalism, come across a lot of whistleblowers. I've noticed two things. One is that they blow the whistle without understanding the consequences. So they expose themselves to the usual thing. First, get sacked. As soon as you get sacked, your entire life obsessively becomes about that one issue. And nobody else but you looks at it like that. You look at the Satyendra Dubey thing, and ironical as it may seem, that while every IITian was so-called supporting Satyendra Dubey from around the world, at that very time, there was one Mr. Tyagi from Indian Oil, who was also an IITian, who also went to every meeting. I met him at, I think, IIT Powai. When I was speaking there, I was part of the panel. He contacted me afterwards. He came to 3 other seminars where we were discussing whistleblowing, and nobody would take up his case. Okay, he was dismissed. He complained to the Vigilance Commission. His complaint was upheld. Okay, and I remember writing to at least 20 well-known IITians to say, this is a case, the difference between him and Satyendra Dubey is that he's alive. So we need to actually help him more, right? And I said, you don't have to do the homework. You're not doing the job of trying to find out whether his complaint was correct or not. The CVC has upheld it. The CVC has put up the report. All that he is now asking is that, action on the report and for him to be reinstated. You would think it's simple, but I think what went against Tyagi was that he was alive. If he was dead, there would have been 100 prayer meetings for him around the country. But if he is alive, his problem is not important enough. Then I did Stockholding Corporation. It went all the way to the Prime Minister, the chairman and CEO of Stockholding Corporation was sacked. And the person who was giving this information, I kept warning him that be careful, you're going to get victimized. It reached an extent where I said, listen, I can't take responsibility anymore if you are not careful. And guess who Stockholding Corporation, in spite of the CEO being dismissed, they had a former police commissioner who you see all the time on television, even today, making pious statements about how policing should be done. He was part of this key committee, which not only finally tracked the guy down, sacked him, as I had expected, but even for sending real threats to me. Finally, my columns in Indian Express stopped because the people who had their hand in the till went all the way to the finance ministry and the finance minister. And they managed to ensure that I was out of Indian Express. I wasn't writing for them anymore. So who paid the price? Not just the whistleblower, but the journalist also who was writing about it. And this is going to be a block all the time. Again, one of the points that you made is that it's wonderful that here an NGO can take up a complaint so that the whistleblower can be anonymous. It's a double-edged thing. All over the world, if you go to the press, you are not a whistleblower. Okay, that's end of the story. In fact, even European laws are quite amazing. They say you just cannot go to the press. You have to exhaust all internal remedies. You cannot go to the media. And I, in fact, advise whistleblowers, go to the media. Don't stick your neck out, but you have to be careful which media that you choose. And you have to convince the media, first of all. And today, with a lot of paid journalism, if it's a large company which gives large advertising, you have no hope in hell that anybody is going to carry it. It's not going to happen, not in mainstream media. And that's a reality, again, that you have to learn to live with. So what I used to tell people that go to the media is sort of half gone out of the window now, because the media is not what it used to be. It is completely dominated by advertising. So if you consider, I mean, I've taken up a lot of time, but I just thought that to put it into perspective, first of all, does it make sense to blow the whistle? Because there are no rewards. At the end of the day, if you read everything that they said, it is only how much can you reduce punishment. And most sane people will say, why am I doing it? So whatever you may list statutorily to say you're protecting them, it still means that you're looking for an individual who's going to take the risk and say something, and then we worry about putting a structure in place to protect them as best as you can. But whistleblowing has no rewards, and I think unless one thinks of a mechanism where there is some kind of reward for whistleblowing, it could be a social reward, as in making a difference in society and people like us recognizing them. It can be some kind of monetary reward that the government has. If they have bravery awards, I don't see why they shouldn't have whistleblowing awards, where at least there is some recognition. Otherwise, there's no recognition for doing the right thing, right? So I think that is something that maybe people should consider, because it does not make sense to blow the whistle at all. And people actually have, the level of corruption in India has gone up so much that all of us who have ever done any investigative work or activism, all of us in this room know it. The first question that you get asked today is, what is your interest? Isn't it? And it's become the opposite. You have to start justifying why you're taking up something, rather than asking people, why are you not part of this movement to take it up? Why aren't you upset with wrongdoing? Why isn't corruption bothering you? So I'm going to stop here, and I think each one should come up here and make their point, and maybe we can even stop and discuss each point and then go to the next, because you all are all activists. You've done wonderful work. So come up here and discuss it, right?
I just want to say that when she said that, she was victimized by her not being able to write for the Indian Express anymore, I just want to make the other point that Mitra, for example, takes up the cause of activists who are threatened. But there's a very big problem in defining who is an activist who is threatened. Because when I first advertised that we will help people, I got a call from somebody who asked me to come to the police station and help them file an FIR because they were being victimized. And I went enthusiastically and I helped them, and they got their FIR filed. And later on didn't come back to me about what was the result. So I kept following up, and then I got to know, not through them but through other sources, that they had used that FIR to negotiate with a builder who was trying to redevelop their building and get a better deal, get more area, get whatever, and that they had used this FIR and used me to do that. And that really worried me, because it meant to me that it is impossible to support an activist until and unless he gets killed, as Sucheta said, because once he gets killed, then it doesn't matter whether he did it out of good intentions or bad, you're against the killing. But if you go out and stick your neck out for somebody and he's actually using you, which you will never know, then it is very, very difficult, because you're compromising your own reputation. So we need to work on some of these details as to what we can really do, how we can support activists, whether we need to identify them first, work only in our own group of activists who are vouched for, who are already identified, whether we can do it for the public in general. I think these are some of the questions that all of us here need to answer. That if we have to take a movement like Mitra and really make it a real network of activists, how do we go about it? We have so many problems. All of us don't always agree, all of us, but I think we do agree when it comes to this. It's a question of working out the modalities of how we do it. So I think maybe we should concentrate on that so that we can come up with some points which actually get us the rules that we want.
What Sumaira Sujata talked about incentivizing somebody to make a complaint. Some of the suggestions which were made are that you give them some percentage of what the government would recover because of their acts, of their complaint. Like in excise and all, they have that, they give 20% of what, if somebody comes and makes a complaint and which leads to the government recovering money, they give 20% of that to the person who come and gave the information. So if something like that is done, there would be more, it wouldn't be just coming out of your good wishes or your social work, but you do it because you get a monetary gain also.
Myself is Shirish Shanbhag. I am an activist. In our country, that mainly there are two types of laws, punitive law and compensatory law. Punitive law means for doing something wrong, you will be punished. That punishment cannot be turned into fine. And at some places you can get fine, and some places that punishment can be turned into fine, that is called compoundable punishment. Now here, there are depend on our just around three main laws: Constitutional law, IPC, and Indian Evidence Act. Others are all derived from these three laws. And enforcement of the law has to be done by the executives of the laws, means that IAS, IPS officers and all, and their staff. If our staff is not that strong enough to enforce the law, howsoever good law we may make, it is of no use at all. Thank you.
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। फर्स्ट मैं इनके एक पॉइंट से पूरी तरह सहमत हूँ और उन्होंने राइटली वो ऑब्जर्व किया है। जैसे मुंबई में हम एक दूसरे को जानते हैं और रेगुलर टच में है, तो हमें खतरा कम होता है। उसका मैं एक मिनट का 2 इंसिडेंट्स आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहूँगा। और एक चीज़ जो विस्लब्लोअर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट मैंने सोचा इंटरनेट में देखूंगा, बट कहा उसका रूल्स वगैरह बन जाएगा बाद में देखूंगा। अच्छा वो आपने पूरा वो अच्छे से प्रेजेंटेशन बताया कि अगर कंप्लेन आपका फॉल्स है, लोगों ने रिपोर्ट बनाया, तो आपको 50,000 रुपये तक फाइन है। मैं आपको बता दूं, रेलवे डिपार्टमेंट जो मुंबई में है, उनका करप्शन, इनएफिशिएंसी, इलीगलिटी, मैं हर दूसरे दिन कंप्लेन करता हूँ और मेरी सब कंप्लेन जेन्युइन होती है। मेरी कई सारी कंप्लेंट्स के हैं ना, रेलवे प्रोटेक्शन फोर्स की थी जो कूला टर्मिनस पे एक्सटॉर्शन करते हैं, गरीबों को लूटते हैं। वीडियो क्लिप के साथ मैंने कंप्लेन किया। सपोर्टिंग कुछ तो डॉक्यूमेंट चाहिए ना। रेलवे डिपार्टमेंट का सब रिपोर्ट आया हाई लेवल इंक्वायरी कि आपकी ये कंप्लेन झूठ है, आपकी ये कंप्लेन फॉल्स है, आपका ये वीडियो है मॉर्फ किया, आपका फोटो है आपने मॉर्फ किया है। मुझे पता था कि बरोबर नहीं होगा। मैंने साथ में सीबीआई को भी कंप्लेन किया था। सीबीआई ने छापा मारा अलग अलग केस में, 30 लोगों को करप्शन में बुक किया, करोड़ों रुपए की प्रॉपर्टी पकड़ी। जो मैंने लिखा था सब वैसे ही प्रूव हुआ। तो अगर विस्लब्लोअर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट में जाता था, कंप्लेन फॉल्स होती थी, तो मुझे तो हर बार 50,000 रुपया भरना पड़ता था। मेरे पास तो है नहीं, तो मैं कंप्लेन ही नहीं करता था। एक दूसरा एक चीज़ बताना चाहूँगा कि ये जो कुछ कानून है ना, जैसे आरटीआई एक्ट बना है, मैं शैलेश गांधी साहब से और बाद में मनी लाइफ में उनके सेमिनार से आके और बेटर हुआ। बहुत अच्छा एक्ट है, एकदम इजी है, आपको वकील की ज़रूरत नहीं है। भास्कर प्रभु जी उसके बारे में रेगुलर कैंपेन मतलब करते रहते हैं बीएमसी वार्ड्स में। तो ये जो आपने बताया ना, जैसे कि कोई विस्लब्लोअर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट में अपना आइडेंटिटी डिस्क्लोज नहीं करना चाहे तो नहीं कर सकता है। तो इंडियन एविडेंस एक्ट में सेक्शन 125 है, 140 साल से वही है। कि पुलिस को भी आप कहाँ से किसने खबर दी, अगर वो नहीं चाहे तो अदालत भी पुलिस को नहीं पूछ सकती है। दूसरा एक है कि झूठा कंप्लेन का पनिशमेंट, वो IPC 160 साल पुरानी, उसमें सेक्शन है 182, 211, 191, तो 2 साल से 7 साल तक का झूठा कंप्लेन करने पे जेल होती है। फिर एक अच्छा है, RTI एक्ट में सेक्शन 21 है कि एक्शन टेकन इन गुड फेथ, नो एक्शन, कोई कानूनी कार्यवाही नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं। तो RTI में मैं धपाधप हर दिन करता हूँ, आज भी 5-6 RTI करके आ गया, क्यों, मुझे तो खतरा नहीं है ना। और रेलवे एक्ट में भी एक प्रोविजन है 186 कि आपने कुछ गुड फेथ में किया है तो आपको कोई सजा नहीं है। तो जैसे किसी को कोई TC पकड़ लिया, उसको पैसे निकाल लिया।
Can we just intervene? This good faith provision is not there in the Whistleblower Act.
No, it just says, sorry.
हाँ,
Just says that if they find that the complaint is not proper, they'll drop it. That's it. If it's malified, it's punished.
यस। और एक चीज़ मैं बताना चाहूँगा, जैसे इन्होंने कहा ना, 1 मिनट भाई, मेरे एक दोस्त है अनीश खान, मुलुंद में रहते हैं, और मैं सीखा हूँ, मुझे बहुत सारी थ्रेट आती थी और सब होता था, तो मैंने एक टीम बनाया, अलग अलग लोगों से RTI लेटर्स में हम लोग करवाते हैं कि 10 लोग करेंगे तो सबको तो खतरा नहीं होगा। तो पिछले साल उनके घर पे ना रात को 12 बजे एक पुलिस हवालदार आया, यूनिफॉर्म, मुलुंद में रहते हो। उनको कहा पुलिस स्टेशन चलो। पुलिस खान ने मुझे फ़ोन किया और वो डरा हुआ था, अरे समीर मेरे घर पुलिस आया, पुलिस स्टेशन आने को कह रहा है। तो मैंने कहा ठीक है, क्योंकि मैं रहता हूँ झवेरी बाजार, मुलुंद से 60 किलोमीटर दूर है मेरा घर। तो मैंने कहा ठीक है, आप चिंता मत करो, मैं टैक्सी पकड़ के आ जाऊँगा। हवालदार को रिक्वेस्ट करो कि उसके पास कोई लेटर है क्या, समन्स या वारंट, कुछ तो होगा ना आपके नाम का। तो हवालदार को पूछा, समन्स वारंट है, तुम चौकी पुलिस स्टेशन चलो, उधर साफ दिखाएगा सब। मैंने कहा आप 100 पे फ़ोन करो और कहो भाई साहब ऐसे एक हवालदार आया, मैं RTI एक्टिविस्ट हूँ, मुझे कुछ कागज़ नहीं और लेके जाना चाहता है, लगता है रास्ते में मुझे मेरी मारपीट करेंगे कोई। तो वो किया, तो हवालदार ये सब देख के चला गया। फिर अनिश खान बोला समीर भाई वो तो चला गया। फिर रात को 1 बजे फ़ोन किया, 1:30 बजे किया, अरे वापस कोई आएगा? तो मैंने कहा अरे भाई दरवाज़ा बंद कर दो, तोड़ के आएगा तो अंदर आने देना, खुलना मत अभी। फिर मैंने कहा देखो ये क्या होता है, ऐसे हैरेस करते। तो कहा इनको एक सबक सिखाना है। तो अनिश खान से एक RTI हमने करवाई मुंबई पुलिस कमिश्नर ऑफिस में कि मुंबई में पुलिस स्टेशन 120 सीनियर इंस्पेक्टर को एयर कंडीशन यूज़ करने का अलाउड नहीं है। तो कितने सीनियर इंस्पेक्टर के ऑफिस में एयर कंडीशन एग्जिस्ट है, मुझे ज़रा इंस्पेक्शन करने का परमिशन दो। गवर्नमेंट ने कब खरीदा उसका मुझे बिल बताओ। गवर्नमेंट ने नहीं खरीदा तो इंस्पेक्टर ने अपने पगार से कब खरीदा, उसका इनकम टैक्स का रिटर्न है, उसकी एंट्री मुझे बताओ। और वो भी नहीं है तो उसका जो बिल भर रहा है वो कौन भर रहा है, इलीगल है। तो फिर ऐसा किया। फिर मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ LT बार पुलिस स्टेशन है, वो सीनियर इंस्पेक्टर के कैबिन में 3 AC है, मुझे पता है। तो मेरा बरोबर नज़र था क्या हो रहा है, क्यों अनिश खान ने RTI किया मुनू से, मैं तो झवेरी बाजार रहता हूँ। फिर एक दिन वो सीनियर इंस्पेक्टर के साथ मैं बैठा था, बातचीत कर रहा था, बोलते खान यार RTI कर दिया 3 AC। मैंने कहा साहब 2 निकाल दो ना, 1 रखो ना, काय को मगजमारी करते हो। 2 निकल गया, वहाँ लकड़े का पाटिया मार दिया। फिर जगह से कई जगह से जवाब आया AC नहीं, सब जगह देखा। कम से कम मैं 20 से 25 पुलिस स्टेशन ऐसे ही गया था कि साहब कुछ मदद चाहिए हम आपको करेंगे, और नोटिस किया AC की जगह लकड़े का पाटिया। फिर फर्स्ट अपील किया कि LT बार पुलिस में 3 AC था ना, 2 लगता है डिसअपियर हो गया, 1 अभी भी है। हफ्ते बाद बोलता है यार वो खान बदमाश है यार, मेरा कोई हवालदार उससे मिला है, वो 1 AC भी निकल गया। तो इससे क्या होता है, अनिश खान के घर अभी कभी पुलिस नहीं जाएगा। थैंक यू।
समीर, ऐसे क्यों नहीं लगता आपको कि वो अनीस खान को आके मारेंगे बिकॉज ही इज मेड द कंप्लेंट?
नहीं,
हो सकता है।
एक चीज़ मैं आपको बता दूं, जान से मारने की बहुत धमकी आती थी। मैं स्कूटर पे जाता था, मेरे पीछे पीछे कोई चलता था, मतलब व्हीकल्स में रहता था, फ़ोन करता था तो मेरे स्कूटर पे अभी राइट लिया, ये कपड़ा पहना है, तो बहुत डरा रहता था मैं। फिर मनी लाइफ फाउंडेशन से एसोसिएट हुआ 2 साल से, और भी लोगों से मेरा एक अच्छा नेटवर्क बना। अभी मुझे कोई धमकी का फ़ोन नहीं आता, उल्टा मैं गया तो बोलता है गब्बर सिंह आ गया। यस श्योर।
I think in Mumbai, in spite of the huge amount of money which we are threatening by taking up various causes, we are less of us are killed and murdered and harassed in the city than anywhere else, and it's because of the network. So the stronger the network is, I think the safer all of us are. And if we can extend it to the other parts of Maharashtra at least, then maybe we're helping some others as well. In Mumbai, we already have at least a decent network. We recognize people who are activists and we are able to go to their support and help them. It's the people, the individuals whom we don't recognize, which I think as activists it's a little bit dangerous to support sometimes because we don't know what they're about. So if they were to do more activism and also, join and talk to us and attend meetings, it would help them as well as us.
But how about the people who we don't know? And since we're all activists, worth thinking about. If somebody walks in and, we have a setup here, we can ask somebody to come and listen to them. One of the things that I worry about is that if I listen to somebody and I'm not convinced, okay? I'm not convinced about why they're doing it, or I'm not convinced because they don't have enough of material on which any sensible action can be taken, or even a proper complaint frame, which happens a lot of the time. People would say, ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai. There is no proof of any kind. There is no photographic evidence that you can get. The minute you listen to this person and you say, I'm sorry, I can't handle it, they immediately turn around and start accusing you of having compromised or paid or got paid or something like that. So it's reached a situation where a lot of people would say, don't even come to me, I don't want to hear.
At least if all of us get together, maybe we can't address everybody's issues at once. We should try and address those we can. But if we have a group or a committee which takes a decision, let's not take up this particular issue, then perhaps it is slightly, spread the decision not to take it up. Yeah, Mitra can do it with support from everybody here, of course.
In the sense that you are a panel, so if Mitra has 4 or 5 people, then maybe, especially if it's going to be dropped or it's going to be taken, maybe something can be proposed to a panel. One can have a meeting where your panel meets it and says, we take this up or we don't. Is that possible?
Absolutely. We need experts in the panel. Yeah, we need some experts in the panel. We need activists in the
panel, because whatever whistleblower comes out with, experts should be then in the field to know the genuineness of it, and of course activists will know that okay, I know this man who is working on it. So we know the authenticity of the person also. So we'll require a broad-based committee which decides on whether to pick up the case or not.
We can also at any time invite experts in different fields if we don't know that particular field. I think that should not be an issue, the expertise in the field. But we need people whom we trust, whom we, and basically spread the responsibility. Unless it's a network of NGOs, this is not the responsibility and cannot be of any single NGO even, because then even NGOs are accused of bias and bias against other NGOs, which makes networking on other subjects more difficult, which may be their core subjects. So we do have to spread it, and across fields, maybe, since I'm working on environment, maybe I can take environment, but we need NGOs working on other issues, human rights or whatever else, so that we can take these issues together. So that's one thing. The other is that what Mitra has done is support this Suamoto PIL, which is in the High Court, which was filed after Satish Sethi was attacked. And we have asked for various steps to be taken by the government, including setting up a participatory committee with the police, which the court has ordered and which the police did set up at some point, but has now become defunct from lack of use. So I think if we can revive that and insist that the police, and how do you actually revive such a thing? One way is to write to the police and hope for the best, that they'll really side with you, which doesn't happen very often. But another way is if groups of people keep insisting on it by writing to them, saying every little thing which happens to you, if you keep writing to the police saying, a lot of us know individual police officers in our own areas quite well, and we have working relationships with them. But we don't get together and take up the side of people who have faced even a minor threat or a minor harassment together. And if that happens, say if it happens 100 times, then you can no longer be accused of bias even if you make a mistake a few times, say 5 times out of 100 times. But if you take up only 2 cases and you make a mistake out of 1, then definitely you can be accused of bias. So again, it's a matter of getting together and sort of, on behalf of Mitra, everybody taking action, say, because Mitra is not a registered organization. It's not an NGO as such. It has no group of trustees or board who can tell you what to do. It's us. So we can all, as Mitra, take up an issue when others are being threatened or attacked, simply because you need a name under which to take it, which is not individual NGOs or groups or people.
Just a point, I think unless it's formalized, it's not going to work. So I have a suggestion. If you say that there is a multidisciplinary committee which has fallen into disuse, why is that happening? But before you answer that, suppose you decide that, say, every third Wednesday of the month you're going to meet. So if that committee and the police have to come on that day, and you have a panel, and you create an email ID, say mitra@gmail.com, and say that anybody who wants to file a complaint or wants support, write, and maybe you meet just once a month, but you take up these things. The person who's filed it, if they are based in Bombay, can come and meet, or you're going to send you documents and you can look at it. But it can do 2 things. One is it can force even the police to come for that committee meeting, which happens with regularity. So they can't say that it's happening when everyone's free. If there are enough members of the committee so that a basic quorum is available at any given point of time. So is that something you would be willing to look at?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a very good idea and we could do it. And if it's working and, people are participating, there's nothing great about registering an NGO. We can register it. That's not the issue.
But it needn't be registered.
It needn't be registered because it's a network. We have a court order.
Since the PowerPoint, seeing the PowerPoint, one thing that's bothering me is the grave, loopholes which are there, or irregular, the improperly drafted bill, Whistleblowers Bill. Can we strengthen it at this point of time? Because President's assent is remaining, I know, but then can we reverse it? I mean, tell them that, okay, go back to Parliament and, make these changes and, then only you give it to the President.
So what they had, even at the time of passing at the Rajya Sabha, they had assured everyone that, we can make changes by ordinances. So we can, before it goes to the President, if we all write letters and we say that this is wrong, this has to be corrected, from the Lok Sabha to the Rajya Sabha itself, some things have been corrected. Things have become a little better. But I'm sure we can still do it, because I don't think the President is going to do anything in a hurry, because with all these elections and all that. And then the new government comes in. So if we start at that time, after the election, start writing and saying that this, I think it will have effect.
In that case, let's start the process now itself, because all the loopholes you're aware of, all the loose ends over there, can be drafted, spread across all over to the activists in India and tell them that write to the President. We all will. But first is your role comes into play. First is that draft a, waterproof, airtight law and then spread it to all. That needs to be done, because here we are incapable of plugging the loopholes, but you are. So can that be done?
I can definitely take a shot at it.
Please do that.